That's awesome.
You got to be willing to give up stuff to grow, like literally in every way. Like you got to be willing to give up drinking to better your like health. You got to be willing to like give up like, I don't know, like maybe playing too much soccer to like do more real estate, whatever it is. You got to be willing to give up stuff to be able to like get to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Alex number 78.
77.
It's 77, fam.
Oh, fuck.
All right, here we go. What's up, deal makers? This was Ask Alex number 77, and we had an incredible special guest. Edwin Madera was on with us, and we were talking multifamily investment properties. Alex, what were your biggest takeaways, man?
Oh, a lot of takeaways here, man. You have to check this out, everybody. This multifamily webinar that we just covered went through deal structure, how to find money, how to find contractors, all the different moving parts on multifamily. You're going to learn so much. Just check it out. Aloha. What's up? What's up, deal makers? We're interviewing Edwin Madera today, you guys. It's going to be exciting to talk to him and see his journey. I've known Edwin now for about 4 years, and him and his group are accomplishing some amazing things in the multifamily space, you guys. I'm excited to share his journey, share his story, along with some of the stuff that I'm working with him on today. So stay tuned. Let me get my guy Will in right now, my co-host. How's everybody doing today? Make sure that you, if it's the first time you're tuning in, that you're using the chat feature to get connected with everybody else that's attending. We have our regular people, our regular attendees that see the value that we're providing and come back every week. So we always appreciate you guys, but also now some new people to get introduced to what we're working on. Obviously, we're heavy on Southern California real estate, but now transitioning to adding Arizona. I'm excited about it. Will and I are going to talk about it. We spent a whole week together almost, right, Will, in Scottsdale. That was crazy fun, man. And I mean, super productive. I mean, the whole time we were on our phones like all day and night.
No, a lot of fun out there, a lot of business too, a lot of work getting done. It was definitely good to get out there and see the 18 unit in person. And, you know, we got a lot of progress done as well. So, you know, seeing that progress and that project kind of moving forward is definitely important.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, the flow that we got into that day, I think it took us like a day or so to get kind of really just acclimated. I mean, it's pretty hot out there. You're indoors a lot. But, you know, we were around a lot of cool people and we had our purpose. We went in there and executed. So that was exciting, dude.
It was definitely a lot of excitement. I think the biggest takeaway that I had is, you know, when you're looking at an 18 unit, it's really just like flipping 18 single units, right? So it's not as daunting as it looks like. It's just, you know, figure out the same process, the same order of operations you would on a house. And I think that's why we're bringing on an exciting guest like Edwin today, is to kind of, you know, dissect some of those differences, those nuances between, you know, the single family houses that we typically do and, you know, what's kind of different and similar in these bigger projects. So should be cool to bring him on. And in the meantime, I know demo has begun on most of the units out there, Alex, but what else has kind of been going on? You know, what are your other kind of updates here for the week?
Yeah, so this quick update on the 18 unit is, you know, Will's back in Los Angeles. I'm back in Guadalajara, Mexico. And we spent a good amount of time there, got a game plan going, interviewed a lot of people for the initial scope of work, such as the rough plumbing, and then also the electrical, and then the work that's going to be done, and then the overall property, and just getting a solid game plan for it. Although we already had our business plan and how much we want to spend and all that, it's different actually having possession of the property, being able to walk into all the vacant units. So that was a new process for us. I mean, we've been in many vacant properties before, but, you know, walking this 18 unit, also getting some content, and then just everybody feeding in some ideas as to what would be the best value added proposition for and the community that we're kind of building, which was another bit of a revelation, although it's pretty obvious. But when you're doing a value add on a multifamily, you're improving that community, and so you have to put some thought into what your future tenants, especially because we have multiple vacancies, what those tenants would like. So that was cool. And in all that, though, I want to say is that I felt a lot of love and support from people that are in Arizona, in Phoenix, Edwin included, but there's several other people that we had lunch with or dinner with or walked the project with. And it's just so cool to have other people that are winning, that are in the same market, that are not looking at like competition, and just sharing their resources, sharing their the people. I think one of the guys helped us get a temporary project manager that's going to help out a little bit, that's doing some project management for them. on their single family. And because, you know, you always need contractors in this business. So that's another update.
And on that note, Alex, you know, I mean, like, I want to share the Facebook group. Everybody, if you are new, make sure you check in on the Facebook group. We have a really cool thread in there where people kind of just let everybody know where they're from and what their Instagram thread is. So not only can you do that here, like I see Ben, you know, Ben's a regular. He moved to Vegas now, but he used to be in Denver. And you know, again, if you guys go and post in the Facebook group where it is that you're from, you can connect with some other people that are in your market already doing this. And that's again how Alex and I, like you mentioned, were able to feel so much love when we were in Arizona. Is, you know, we were able to develop that network before we got out there. So
yeah, and we jokingly said it's like, you know, when you're crowd surfing, like you jump in the crowd, everyone's holding you up. I swear I kind of felt like that because it was just so much love. Everybody's like, you know, rolling out the red carpet. Here's this person, drywallers, you know, handyman. And, you know, I see us having success there partly because of our network, but we've also built that network out and provided a lot of value, taking people out to eat, you know, really refer them, help them with what we got working on our business, share that to them. So it's not like they're just, you know, handing it all over because we're just random people. We've built these relationships, and that's showing a lot of fruit right now. As we're
and it falls into the abundance mindset. You know, we talk about it out here, right? There's always deals and there's always opportunities. So same thing out in Arizona, right? There's going to be opportunities. There's going to be chances to collaborate. You just have to make your way out there and find it. So what else has kind of been going on, man?
Well, so another thing is that I was planning on staying in Arizona for like 2 weeks, but I had the family, one of my favorite cousins, her daughter's having a quinceañera, and then we had a big family reunion. As you know, Mexican families can get rather large. So what's funny is that you sent me a video of like a party you were at that was in LA, and it was I sent you a party that I was at, you know, for family over here in Guadalajara, and they really looked like they had the same vibe, you know, they're both you know, so that was kind of cool. But I got to see people that I, you know, don't see often, and everybody together. I definitely got to upload some more content on that because I got a bunch of just family members enjoying. We had some mariachi over. It was super cool. But also kind of on a side, kind of a next update, you know, as we have properties, you know, in a couple of states, you know, one of the properties, you know, the Maui house, we got a new Maui flip that we had going on, and we had nobody else to, you know, do a project management on that and to actually run the project because, you know, it's just kind of challenging to get people out there that really want to work. And so we flew in Amari, right? Our project manager in LA, because he has most of his projects already kind of finished and dialed in. And I mean, we trust him. And then there was nobody gonna be at the house. So it just kind of all lined up where he's on Maui right now, rehabbing the property, but also spending time with his family on Maui for an extended period of time. So super cool about that. I'm sure you're going to be going out there pretty soon too, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a magical island, magical properties out there. Just, you know, anytime you get a chance to go out and visit the islands, it's fun. So I'm definitely going to get out there and check in on the project. How cool of an opportunity, right, for a team member to be able to step up and be able to go out and work on a project on the island as well. Bring his family out there, and so, you know, really excited for him on that end.
Yeah,
as well.
man, super cool. I love seeing his updates. But also, you know, part of that reason is because he got the Compton property that he was managing to listing stage super fast. And so we're happy about that, getting that project back on the market. And then Mikey, our kind of new operations manager, has been helping out a lot with just getting all the systems dialed in that you work with a lot with the virtual team. So shout out to Mikey. He's really helping improve the systems, create new systems, and make sure that everything's just kind of humming along because we got a lot of moving parts. And then in all that, we closed on our first Vegas deal, entry-level kind of fix and flip deal. We might sell that to a hedge fund, kind of got that kind of in the works. We'll see how that works out. But what's cool is like we have properties in 4 different states, you know, like I think it's now 30 with this 18 unit, like 36, 37 doors.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. 4 states, right? And out in Nevada, pretty wild to think about, you know, the numbers. And again, like you said, Mikey on the team and team members on the team, Eliam, you know, stepping up and doing deals in a couple of different states. So, you know, all those systems are kind of starting to roll and hum along. So it really is a testament to the team behind the scenes as well.
That's the update, but let's talk to Edwin. Definitely want to introduce him to you guys. I know some of you are familiar with him, other people are not. Kind of was flying under the radar, just started getting more active on social media. But I've known Edwin now, Will, as you are familiar with our story, now for about 4 years. It's going to be 4 years this month. I just looked at it because I went to a wholesaling conference back in Tampa, Florida in 2018. And he was there with a couple other San Diego, just young Wiz kids, because I say young because they're in their early 20s. And, they were trying to get information. They were working on some fix and flips. They were working on some wholesaling. But he was one of those guys. I say kid again because he's so young, and even looks so young, right? They were like a pleasure to be around. We had a great time. I think we went out to a nightclub. It was super fun just to get to know each other. And then we stayed in touch for those years. And he was mainly working on single family, most of the stuff in San Diego. I was born in San Diego, so I always like to get down there. I think we connected once or twice when I went down there in between all this. And then I just started to really hear from him, just talking about doing some multifamily in Phoenix. And then over the last year, 2 years, I've really seen him kind of evolve into just going and doing all that instead of what he had been working on. So we're going to talk about all that. We'd like to welcome him, show him some love, you guys. Edwin is just a wealth of knowledge. He's been working on, a lot of multifamily deals. He's going to go over some numbers, I'm sure. But we've also had so many great dinners and just conversations, and he's really been supportive in this time that we got this 18 unit. He helped vet the deal, and he's also helping with some of the contractors we're using. So can't say enough about this guy. He's a stud. So I'm excited to talk to him today and share his journey with you guys. Gonna bring
and Alex,
we're gonna bring him on, right?
And I'll go ahead and bring him in. And like you said, Alex, I mean, I think the cool thing here about Edwin is obviously, when we get a person, like Edwin, who's able to kind of help us out and, assist us with projects and assist us with deals, like that's important for us, right? So a lot of that has to do with our network. And we kind of alluded to that earlier, right? Building up that network, making sure that when you get into, a new market or a new place, you're rocking and rolling and ready to go. So I really do think a lot of that has to do with our network and with our people like Edwin that's in there. So really cool stuff here. I'm going to get Edwin joined in just a second. I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with them, and then we'll get him in. But in the meantime, Alex, tell us a little bit about, where you kind of got connected with Edwin.
Yeah, well, what I mentioned earlier was that wholesaling conference, but later on down the road, as I started seeing him work on more like of the Phoenix multifamily stuff, and as our flipping company has really scaled up, I started to see that there was some potential there for us to really do some more business together. And I think you're talking about the whole network effect. Another deal comes to mind real quick is this deal we have in the Big Island of Hawaii. We got that deal partly because one of the investors that I went to mastermind with is on that island, and he really helped vet that deal very quickly. And to bring that over here to Edwin, he also helped us vet this 18 unit pretty quickly as well. And speed is key in deal making. At the very minimum, to get to that next phase of negotiation, you really kind of need that, right? You need people that have that knowledge of those areas. And so you can have more confidence in moving forward on the particular deal that maybe it's a little bit outside of what you typically do. And that 18 unit falls into that category, and doing a deal over there on the Big Island falls into that category. We hadn't done anything over there yet. So, but yeah, it looks like we're trying to get Edwin on right now. Sometimes this happens, you guys. So if you guys have any specific questions, I could kind of jump in and kind of just answer some questions in the meantime while we get Edwin kind of dialed in and get him on the webinar. So I see you got a lot of familiar faces, probably some new ones here on the chat. Let's see. Make sure. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat, so we'll get Edwin on right now. See what else. Yeah, but Phoenix, I love the city, you guys. Again, I will talk about a little bit about that right now, because not only do I see just a vibrant city, but whoever hasn't been to Phoenix or that, Scottsdale, Mesa, all these different areas around there, it really has a high quality of life potential, and it's the prices are much less. So that's why you see a lot of people flocking, and also just a lot of businesses going there. Therefore, a lot of jobs. Are you there, Edwin?
What's going on?
All right, cool, man. It happens, brother.
I made it in.
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
thanks for the introduction, guys. Hello to everybody. I'm glad you guys all made it out here and took some time out of your day to join this call, but because we're going to be dropping some bombs.
For sure. So I know we had some questions lined up for you, but first, I think we usually try to start with just giving us a quick overview, of who you are, how you got where you're at right now. That'd be super helpful for some people that might not know some of those details.
Absolutely. So guys, as Alex said, we met a couple years ago, but my story starts from way back. Like when I was young, we didn't come from any sort of wealth. We're first generation Americans. My parents are Mexican, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody. They have visas. Like they don't even have passports to be going anywhere in the United States. So when we came into this country, we just did, my mom was doing the regular thing of working at UPS, which she still works there now. Took us into school, you know, did the whole regular curriculum. And once I was like 14, 15 years old, like I realized that I needed to start making money, like some way, somehow. I saw my brother was starting to make some money, like flipping cars, selling shoes and stuff. So I was like, I need to figure out how to make some money too. So at that time, I started selling chips at school, you know, dollar Tostitos. And shortly after, you know, I always knew like I need to sell something more expensive because $1 isn't gonna get me nowhere. You know, I would make a couple $100 a week, but I was like, no, I need to sell something that's way more expensive where I could, you know, the same transaction I can make more money out of. And that's when I was 17 and I started learning about real estate and getting into the whole brokering side. When I found out that I could get my license at 18, I was like, I'm gonna start my course at 17 and 3/4. By the time I'm 18, I got my license. And even before then, I was already trying to do deals, like, you know, already prospecting, learning what it is to cold call and marketing and stuff like that. So once I started getting into actually selling deals, you know, I was an 18-year-old, you know, making money. Like we're cashing checks of like 8,000, 10,000, you know, like I got a brand new Lexus quickly. You know, I started going out. I started attending events, met people like Alex. You know, I wasn't even allowed in the clubs and I was in there, fake IDs and just popping bottles. And I soon realized that I was falling into the same like trap every time, you know. I'll close a deal, make some money, spend almost all of it, get another deal, spend almost all of it drinking, you know, like going out. And I wasn't being consistent in the workflow. I wasn't being consistent on like my clients, my prospects, even with Alex. Like this was a great resource that I had that I didn't even really keep so much touch like on a regular basis, or at least like, hey, what's up, Alex? What are you working on today? You know, like there's so many people out there maybe that you have in your network that are already doing things that you're not even reaching out and saying, hey, how are you doing? You know, like what deals are you working on? Let's jump on a quick 15-minute call. And, you know, like I was leaving a lot of people in the dark, including my own family. So when I knew that like things were going, well, I didn't even know things were going downhill. I thought I was doing it big, you know, because I had people telling me like, dang, you're so young, you're doing this. So like my ego, my pride was like through the roof. And then things didn't fully change until like I finally realized that what I was doing was wrong and I needed to change my mind like completely. And once I changed my mind, I was able to get into a whole new business model, like almost from one night to another. And now we're here in Phoenix. You know, before I was only brokering deals in San Diego, getting commissions out of it, you know, selling it to other investors. And now we're here in Phoenix, you know, buying big multifamily deals like $11 million, $18 million, $6.5 million. And then at the end of this month, in about a couple of days, you're going to close a $26 million deal. So like
Wow.
things change really fast.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Will, did you want to? I think
No, I mean, what an incredible, you know, introduction, right? So, I mean, you guys heard it right there. You know, somebody who was really motivated from a young age, and kind of fell into the trap that a lot of people, I think, fall into, right? I see a lot of wholesalers get their first deal, you know, get the Ferrari, get the Tesla, and then they're like, oh man, I can't get a second deal. I can't get that next project, right? And it happens, right? So, it happened to Edwin, but that didn't mean it was the end of it, right? Like you're able to bounce back from that. And now talking about like multiple M's on these deals, right? 11s, 26, 6s, you know, some really big numbers on there. So I think that's going to be some great stuff for people. In the meantime, guys, if you have any questions for Edwin, we're going to dive a little bit more into his story and a little bit about the numbers on some of these deals. But go ahead and use that Q&A feature right down below. And if you guys have any questions for Edwin, let us know in that Q&A field. In the meantime, I'm also just going to drop a quick poll for you guys. So if you guys get a chance, can you answer this poll? And we just want to know what kind of investment strategies you guys are into. If you guys are doing multifamily like Edwin down at the bottom, go ahead and let us know down there. If you guys are doing single family fix and flips, just let us know in the chat. All right.
Yeah, and I don't want to overlook just like some of the stuff. We could unpack a little bit. What he said was kind of that mindset shift, right? Where you go from like, hey, I know I'm kind of making money, because once you get into real estate, and you are working hard, I mean, eventually you should be making some money, right? And then naturally, you've been kind of starving or not making much for a long amount of time, so you want to just kind of just start to like enjoy the fruits of your labor. And there's nothing absolutely wrong with that, but sometimes it's like too much. It's way excessive, right? Rather than going on a weekend trip. And still being able to reinvest into yourself, education, or your lifestyle, something that's, going to be more a little bit long lasting than just like, night out at the club. Hey, we've all done that. Part of the reason that, I'm so happy that you didn't take you that long to figure that out, Edwin, is because I lost everything. I literally did. Like, I was making a lot of money in the mortgage business, and then I was in my early to mid 20s, had no real skills or real kind of mentors. And then I ended up losing all that because I just bought things. I didn't buy assets, right? I didn't. So much about being a successful investor is your mindset. So I just don't want to overlook that you were able to shift your mindset and see like, wait, there's way more opportunities out here for me. I'm just kind of focusing on this. I'm making money, but I need to go and do this. And the kind of things just opened up for you. And I've seen that with other investors as well, that they're just so zeroed in on something. Like, it may not see the other opportunities that are out there. And that's a good point you made, that following up with people is important. Because I do remember you following up with me, but maybe not as much. And then when we started kind of link up a little bit more, I remember you got a referral, you put a deal together, and then we were starting to talk more and more about hanging out in Phoenix. And then that's when kind of things turned around, and I started considering doing more deals out there. So no, but great story. Thanks for unpacking that. But I think we will have some more detailed questions about what you're doing and some of the deals that you're working on too, right, Will?
Yeah. I love what you said there too, Alex, right? Like it is a big thing. Don't overlook, the mindset shift, because I think mindset really is, the first piece of it. Knowing every day when you wake up, hey, there's a deal for me. Real quick, like how many people do you think would just decide, hey, I'm going to go from San Diego to Phoenix, right? Like you're already out at the beach. You already made it to one of the best places. Alex and I were both born in San Diego. We're very familiar with San Diego, and it's like, to say, hey, there's a bigger opportunity for me. That's a mindset shift. So, great thing to point that out, right, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess
let's talk about that, because I think that is one of the big things that kind of shifts, right? So, tell us a little bit about your shift in mindset, right? Like what kind of triggered that? You went from single family deals in San Diego to switching over to the commercial side, multifamily. What was that transition like for you? What kind of brought you to that?
Yeah, so I never in my life thought I would ever start a fund. Like I never thought that I'd ever have like a bunch of investors, trying to invest with me into apartment deals. I never thought like, oh, one day I'm gonna raise $100 million or $50 million and then buy X amount of real estate. It was never born out of me that I thought of that, and I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen. It was something that was born like out of like my spirit. It was like literally one day where I was just chilling out, and then like I had a word spoken to me like by God, and he said, hey, like I'm gonna show you how to raise capital. And I was like, what? And he's like, and I'm gonna show you how to raise capital, but for right now for real estate, and in the future, I'm gonna show you how to raise capital like as like charity, and like being able to like build properties in other countries, or like provide TVs or iPads or whatever it is, So then I was like, oh dang, like this could be really big. So shortly after, I was like, okay, so what is my first step? Like, I do have some connections that are already in real estate, like they're doing real estate in Phoenix, people are doing real estate in California. I know a couple business owners. Like, okay, how do I put this all together? And first things first was like, you need to get the documents right. Like first things first, like you need to figure out how are you going to bring a deal to someone and be like, hey, this is the documents. Like everything in real estate gets done with ink on paper. No one's gonna send you money. No one's gonna sell you a deal. No one's gonna refer you anything without having something inked on paper and saying, hey, this is legit. If anything happens, I'm gonna bring my guys with the suits and talk to you, or vice versa. If you do me dirty or some run away, I'm gonna bring my guys with the suits and they're gonna talk to you. So that was the first thing, like, okay, let's figure out exactly like what documents we need, you know, what a fund is. And that was when my mindset really changed. From one day to another, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna focus on deals anymore. I even had deals in escrow that I had my partners like fully like, hey, you guys just take the lead on these deals, you know, and I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna move to Phoenix and figure out exactly what it is I need to do. So that's when my mindset really changed, and I really started working towards that goal alone.
Bigger deals usually lead to bigger profits, right? Bigger numbers, you know, bigger problems, bigger profits. I love it because, you know, there's some people, you know, asking in here, you know, right now, you know, what was kind of like the shift in mindset, right? So the first practical steps that you took, again, is kind of looking at it and saying like, okay, so before I can even do a multi-million-dollar project, right? What do I need to do is I need to get the paperwork in place so that, again, if I were to do this deal, if I were to have this deal, I would need to lock it up. And I think, you know, again, a lot of people underestimate the power of that signature, right? Getting the deal signed, getting that contract signed with your private money lender. Hey, again, you call it the guys in the suits, right? That means the lawyers, right, guys? That means, you know, hey, somebody broke contract, somebody broke language. So I love that, right? Because you have to understand the language of real estate before you can dive in and make that transition.
Well, I mean, I think that's also what he's kind of mentioning. I mean, the paperwork really means that you understand, like, you know, how things are structured, and because there is more things, more involvement from different parties on a multifamily deal, typically than a single family deal. So you're dealing with more stuff and just bigger numbers. So yeah, although that means potentially bigger profits and all that, it also means more responsibility, right? More potential things for things to go wrong. As he mentioned, the guys with the suits, and so. I think that's also the understanding that you're stepping into a different ball game, and it has different rules. So you know, make sure you kind of know the rules of this other ball game before you start just trying to go play, because it is going to be different. So good stuff, man. I think we also had kind of just like what most people, you know, the question I had for you was that, you know, like, how do you really break into the multifamily business if you don't really have like the track record or the money? Because even with someone like myself that has a little bit of both, it was still very hard. So what do you just say to those people that, you know, how do they break in if they don't have a lot of money and they don't really have a lot of, you know, overall track record of doing deals like this?
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, that's something that, you know, like Alex and Will, like they came out to Phoenix a couple times and we were looking at a range of deals. You know, we were looking at 4 units, they're looking at 8 units, at 18 units. So it's like, dang, like what deal can I take down that will best suit me? And really, in order to break into this space, like you can go big, you know, like as big as your mind can go, but you know, like with a big property comes big pockets, big responsibilities. So the best way to break into this space, I would say, is in this smaller range that Alex and Will just got into. You know, anywhere from like 4 to 15 units is definitely doable on the capital side, on the lending side, and on the broker bringing you a deal side, because there's still a lot of mom and pop owners. And what that means is just people that like, they somehow were able to buy a 10 unit deal 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and rented it out. And I was like, oh, well, now I want to sell it. And they're not treating it like a business. And the way you know they're not treating it like a business is by seeing the rent roll. If the rent roll is like super low, it's like, okay, yeah, these people don't care about the business. They're just giving out these leases.
What's the rent roll, Edwin? Some people might not know what that means. What's the rent roll?
Yeah, the rent roll is like how much each apartment is paying. So if there's 18 units, you need to see exactly what each single apartment is paying. And if the market rate is $1,000, but they're renting it out for $600-$700, it's like they're definitely not treating it as a business. They basically, like, they don't even care because they're just cash flowing and they don't want to go through the process of, it's time to, you know, like increase the rent, and they don't want to like show their faces, get embarrassed, have confrontation. They don't have property managers, whatever the case is. So for that,
a lot of times I was going to say the books might not be in order. They don't have a property manager. Just like with houses, guys, at the end of the lifetime of a product, the end of the lifetime of a roof, the end of the lifetime of carpets, kitchens. Sometimes those people that didn't treat it like a business and didn't store the CapEx money away, all of a sudden those big expenditures come around, and it's, hey, now it's time for this person to sell that to somebody that does want to treat it like a business. So
yeah, and let me add to that. Like, you buying a building, whether it's 10 unit, 15, 20 unit building, if you do treat a business, what does every business have, right? It's like sales, marketing, operations. So all those areas can be improved for that business you're buying, because that business, it already has income, right? There's already 20 units or 20 spaces, living spaces that people are paying every month. Are those being, best for that particular, tenant? And or there's so many things where, 10 years passed by, like you said, a decade, now the finishes are off. People, the rents went up, but people are not willing to pay rent, this much rent for this kind of unit. And then you're just, going in there and saying, hey, you know what, this can be repurposed, and this can be, kind of value add, right? There can be more value, which actually is from both sides, right? The tenant gets a nicer, more modern, better community with more amenities, and then the property owner and other partners are getting more revenue than what was previously coming in. So if you pay attention to sales, okay, what sales, like, that could be bidding out projects, and you have to negotiate with contractors, right? There's some sales persuasions there. There's the marketing side of things, marketing for better tenants, because not all tenants are created equal, as you very well know. And then there's operations, like, which really is the lifeblood of a big part, I would say, of multifamily is the execution, the operations is so critical to revenue. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm getting. I just wanted to add that note that, like, hey, it really is a business, because I think that's a great point.
And that's how we started, just so you guys know. Like, we didn't start buying like 10 million, 50 million, $6 million properties like right off the bat. We started buying like $600,000 properties, $700,000 properties, and which was like, call it 4 or 5 units. And then we would sell those 4 units and buy 8 units, and then we would sell those 8 units and buy 10 units, and then from 10 to 20. But we were doing that with multiple properties at the same time. So if we started with 5 4-unit properties, then we had 5 8-unit properties, and then 5 15-unit properties, and then 5, like, you just level up each single property. If you buy at good spreads and you're able to create that equity through raising, it's all raising the revenue. But how do you raise the revenue? By applying upgrades, keeping competitive rates, like whatever the market's demanding of. And yeah, like that's how we started. From once we broke, it's a barrier of entry. It's like, I always like to describe it as a bench press. Like, say if your regular bench press is like 20 pounds on each side, like, for you to get to that plate, you can't just go up in there like, okay, I'm gonna like smash someone. For you to get to that second plate, like 2 plates on each side, you can't go just in there and do it. Like, it takes a lot of growth, incremental growth, to be able to get there. There is those times where you just like, boom, you just go for it, and it could work out really good. But there's times where if you go for it, like, that bar's gonna just fall back on your chest really hard. So
yeah, absolutely,
that's how it is.
Do we have any other questions, guys?
No, we have some questions coming in. I was just going to say, I've got some great questions coming in on the Q&A. We have an anonymous attendee that's just wondering a little bit more about the structure of a deal, right? So, when you're structuring these things, how does that look percentage wise? I know we talked a little bit about the legality of it. Like, how are you structuring, the legal side, the base level on these documents, and what about percentage wise?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, guys, like, I think it'd be a better idea, Will, to do it how we had in the questions, because it'll have like a roadmap, and the structure was like the second or third question. And
Yeah,
I want to.
And I know we kind of talked about this in our previous conversations. It's pretty similar to what we would need on a single family deal, right? Like, there's going to be a certain couple of components that you need in every deal, right? You're always going to need your deal finder. So that piece is a piece of the puzzle, right? Is that a piece that's going to get, broken in on a percentage level or on a structure level of the deal?
Yeah, so it depends. Like, if you have, one of the first things you guys need to do before like structuring a deal, because when it comes to structure, as Alex knows, and many seasoned investors that may be on this chat, there's so many ways to skin the cat. Like, thousands of ways. You can offer 5%, 10%, 50%, 70%. Like, there's just so many ways that you could skin it. So first and foremost, like one needs to find a deal, right? And to find a deal, you go to your local wholesaler and be like, hey, get multifamily deals. Like if you see any multifamily, because there's so many deals that just go to everyone's plate. So it's like, if you see any multifamily deals, send them to me. And you call brokers, you know, you go to your local brokerages. Like here in Phoenix, you type in Phoenix multifamily brokerages. Boom, 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 boom. Like a bunch will pop up. You go to Idaho multifamily brokerages, a bunch will pop up. And you send every single one, you go to everyone's page, there might be a register link. Well, they'll literally just send you deals as they come. Or you just email one of the brokers, hey, my name is Edwin. I'm looking for 4 to 10 units. I have the capital ready, or if you don't have the capital ready, you said, hey, I'm looking to find the right deal. I may need to look at a couple. So they understand too. They're not thinking that, oh, they're going to close the deal with you on the first one. But hey, I need to look at 5 deals before I make a decision. I'm new to the market, and they'll be just sending them over to you. So these type of people, there's no set of like percentage that you need to pay them other than their commission or their fee of what they acquired the deal, right? So once you get the deal, you're able to then figure out, okay, like now how do we skin the cat? And to start off, like in this multifamily game, it's hard to do anything by your own. Like even Alex with this 18-unit property, it would be super hard for him to raise the capital, do the construction, structure the deal, like have all these conversations with the investors all at the same time. So that's why he's building a rock star team that's helping him in all angles. And same thing with us, you know, like I'm not the only one looking for the deal, raising the capital, structuring the deal, relationships with the lenders. It's just a lot. So this is kind of where you structure a deal. And there's 2 structures. There's the in-house structure, you know, that you have with your team. And then there's a structure with the investors on the return side. So we'll talk about the structure within the team, I guess. Like, and it really is about how much value each one provides. You know, like there's no one that can work like without each other. Like it's like if Alex can find all the deals, but there's no one to do the construction side, those deals are just going to be sitting there. They're not going to get flipped on time. The interest rate is going to eat up the profits, and then there's just no more profits and the business fails. You know, if there's a really good contractor, but no deal sourcer, there's just not going to be any work to do. And
that's where the business plan comes into place, right? Though, like, you know, you got the deal structure, and then you have to actually have a business plan / exit plan, right?
Exactly. So if the person asking this is wondering like, hey, how do I structure a deal with the investors? I'll share how we've structured the deal, like how we structure all of our fund deals and how we structure some of our deals. So what we'll do is we'll offer a 70-30 split off of the profits, 70% to the investors, 30% to the owners, the managers, and then straight off the bat, like whatever it is. So for example, if we purchased a property and the down payment was $3 million, and when we sell the property, there's $6 million on the table, then we'll give them everybody $3 million back, which is what everybody invested. And then there's another $3 million of profits. We'll literally slice it, boom, like this. 70% gets distributed to everybody according to how much they own of the asset. And then the other 30% goes to us. And, you know, if you invest in the deal yourself, you know, which if you want to get investors in your deal, you have to be willing to say, I'm putting what I got into this deal because I believe in this deal. Like, even if you own a home and you have 300K of equity and that's all you got, and you know this deal is fire and is going to make some money, you've got to be willing to go up to someone like Alex and me and be like, I'm going to put half of my equity that I have on my property, bro, like 150,000. That's how much I believe in this deal. And if that's going to make this deal work with all of us, then I'm willing to do it. You know, that's someone that's like, dang, like they're really putting what they can, like what they're willing to risk on the table, you know?
Put your money where your mouth is, right?
Exactly. You know, so we come into these deals and we'll tell investors like, hey, we're putting in $2 million, we're putting in $3 million, we're putting in $1 million, whatever it is. And then now it just, everybody gets that sense of security. It's like, dang, like if they're putting in that much, this has to be a good deal, you know? But obviously for some people in this chat that don't have that amount of capital, you know, like whatever it is that you have, you could just put it out there. Like, hey, even
I'd like to mention something to that, because the way I see it too, Edwin, you correct me if I'm wrong. If you found something, you went out there and did the work, even though these require a lot more capital, typically, you know, you get if you get a great deal, there's some way for you to be included in that deal. Even if you don't put capital, you could source some capital, and or you could, you know, put in your potential commission into the pot for the deal. So there's many ways for you to kind of still be involved without necessarily having to put up a large amount of money. But you are making a fantastic point in the fact that, like, it makes raising the capital, I think, easier, or at least just it makes people more confident and willing to, you know, invest with you if you're investing your own money. And why would you not be investing your own money if it's such a good deal? And then, you know, I will put up $100,000 on this deal we did. I put up $250,000. I didn't expect to put that much, but it worked out that way. We got some other flips done in LA. And so, you know, collectively, out of the $1 million we had to come to the table, like, we put up 350. So, you know, it is what it is. And people saw that, and they're like, and that was something that let people know, hey, I'm putting the largest amount of money I think I've ever put into one deal on this deal. But it also coincidentally is the largest deal we've ever done. So, but also on that, I think we still want to talk about a couple of little small things of, like, the deal structure, which was, like, I think another part was that there needs to be someone that can actually get a loan for the bigger amount, right? So there's somebody that, you know, maybe not, like, for another example would be the deal we just did. We had a partner come in to help sign for the loan. He got 10% of the equity of the property, put no money in.
Bigger loan amount, right, Alex? Yeah. You're talking about $1 million loan. It's not a single family property.
$3 million, right? A $3 million loan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, ours is $3 million, and Edwin's multiple $11 million. So it's a bigger loan amount.
Yeah, but we brought somebody in that had the experience of multifamily, had a larger net worth than all of us, and to be able to sign on that loan. They're like, hey, they're going to get that to the finish line. Now, that's not the only thing he did. He helped with a lot of the initial conversations that Edwin was saying too. Like, yo, like, there's a lot of conversations that are happening, you lawyers and other stuff that's happening in the back, you know, with the property management company that you could potentially be hiring, or you can do that in-house. You know, so there's more moving parts to it. And then the other thing I think is having the right inspectors and then contracting team, correct?
Yes. So yeah, that's all the in-house stuff, you know, like I was sharing before, like, there's an in-house team that you got, like your main people that are the managers, the ones that are responsible for getting the signature, getting the loan, the deal. And then there's the people that are just investing the money, you know, like, what are my returns? I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to go to the property. I'm not going to call any investor. I'm not going to call any broker. Like, all I want to do is put my money somewhere and get returns. So yeah, there's two different structures there, but yeah. So to get this deal, to get a deal, right, you find a deal with the brokers, with a deal, someone that can source a deal. And once you find that deal, you put the documents together, you know, you go to a local attorney, best if you go to local, what state you're working at, and you type it up, you know, like, hey, I want to put, you know, 60-40, you know, like 40% will go to me, 60% to the investors, or if they're only making money off of interest, and hey, they're making 25% off of interest only on their money. And with that being said, once you put all that together and you got the deal in escrow, you have to get a really good inspector that understands your business plan. Just like everyone should understand your business plan, you know, like, you go in there and tell the inspector, hey, inspector, you see 18 units here, but we're really only going to fix 8 of them. So I need you to come in here and tell me which out of all these units, which of the 8 are the ones that are in, like, maybe the most deteriorated condition, or, you know, where do you think I can put washer and dryers, or what are the electric panels looking like? And that way, he's not trying to, like, nitpick every single thing around the building, and now he has a clear focus of what exactly you're looking for. And same thing with the broker, the one that's finding the deal. Hey, just so you know, I'm going to buy this deal and I want to exit in 12 months. I know it's 18 units, but I only want to fix 10. How much do you think I can raise the value by? Do you think this is the deal for me? Or is this more buy and hold? You know, and then they'll tell you, hey, this might not be the right deal for you. This is more of a long-term play. Or they might say, hey, that's a sweet business plan. Here are some comps that can help you support your exit. And, like, that way everybody and same thing with your investors. And you tell them, hey, we have this 18 unit property. We're not going to fix everything. You know, we're only going to, if we fix everything, it might take us 2 years. If we only fix 8 units, you know, at a good pace, it might take us 6 to 8 months, and we could get this done in this time frame and make as much profits. And now we'll be able to sell it to an investor and say, hey, we fixed 6 units. These are what the new rents are at. These are what the other rents are at, which are lower, and you can purchase this property and get the rents to the same rate that I have them at, if not even higher. And you sell it. We call it, the business model that we call it is proven concept. It's like, I already did half of the work for you. I already proved the rent. All you got to do is copy me and do the rest.
So if you fix those other units up to the same value of this unit, then you should expect to see the same rent, or like you said, better than I'm seeing on my proven concepts here.
Yeah.
So again, that's a great way of looking at it, right?
Well, when I spoke to the property manager that's managing our property in Arizona, he described that just like you're saying it very well. Where what is your business plan? Like, are you looking, because that affects property management, right? Like, well, because they're gonna have to communicate with the existing tenants, and so once again, there's more moving parts, more part of your team that are helping you execute that plan. And then so I remember him describing that, like, there is, what are you gonna do? He specifically asked, like, are you just gonna like leave it the way it is now, and just kind of start raising rents, to what they are now, like you have a certain amount that you can raise it every year. So or I don't think there is no rent control in Phoenix, is there?
No, zero rent control.
So exactly. So we could rent, if they're paying 700 and really the market rate for their conditions 800, we just raise it 800 and then gamble whether they're gonna just want to vacate because they don't want to pay 800. So or are you doing the proof of concept like you said, or you're gonna you have 5 vacancies right now, Alex? Well, you guys rehab those 5. See where you can get top dollar, rehab the exterior, make it a nicer place. Do some of the value add, a partial value add play almost, right? And then now the next investor that you sell it to, if you're going to 1031 that and go into a bigger asset, or sell it, and then and then use that proceeds to go on to the next deal. So do you want to do the full value add play? And it's going to take longer, but you are going to be able to get more revenue, raise the value even more, and then refinance and keep it as a long-term play. Or again, you keep it maybe past 2 years. So there's a couple ways, like you said, to skin the cat. A couple ways for you to structure deals, and it can change based on new information. For us, we're planning on doing more of a proof of concept for the property, but based on our new information, going to the property, talking to our CPAs, talking to the cost segregation company, it looks like it might be just more of a hold for us, simply because it is going to help us eliminate, or not eliminate, but just go ahead and offset a lot of the taxes that we'll be paying for the flipping that we're doing in California. So now it's like, okay, cool. Well, now we're going to make a lot of money in California. We're going to invest that into Arizona, because we like the rental laws there. We like the potential for multifamily, and also it helps out with tax strategy. So for us, that's going to work for us. But for somebody else, they might be a good 1031 for them, or partial value add play like you're describing. So but I like what we're talking about here. We're sharing with people that just like with single family, there's multiple exit strategies that you can employ, and wholesaling is one strategy, fix and flip is another strategy, creative finance is another strategy. But multifamily has multiple benefits. It depends on where you're at in your journey and how that might benefit you, right?
Absolutely.
Real quick there, guys, I want to make sure we answer some of these questions because we got about 15 minutes left. I got some killer questions coming in here in the Q&A. Alex, you just nailed Alex Alvarez's question. He asked, where are you guys, looking for multifamily and why? And I think, Edwin, you alluded to it, right? Like, we've been out to Arizona multiple times, no rent control laws. It's a good place for tax strategies. So a lot of reasons right there for us personally, but Alex and I did visit other areas that we were interested in investing in as well. And this was just something that kind of really hit home for us. Another great question that kind of we touched on earlier, Edwin, this might be a good question for you. What percentage of deals are on market from brokers, or can you find from direct, marketing to those mom and pop, or are most of those coming from brokers?
Direct marketing works 100%, but there's a limit to how much, like how high you could go, because again, it's barriers to entry. Like, you're dealing with people that own, past 20, 25, 30 units. You're dealing with people that own $5 million properties plus. Like, they're not just going to sell it to someone that sends them a card on the mail that says, hey, sell me your property. Oh yeah, $5 million that I have on the table, bro. Yeah, I don't even know you. You're a ghost for sure. Let me call you. Like, no, but you can still get that done on these like 4 to 10 units, 4 to 15 units, but it really gets to a certain point where people want a full-on professional selling their deal, like someone that has a track record, someone that has sold a property next door maybe. But yeah, once you're dealing with people that have 5, 10, 15, 20, $100 million properties, it's literally 99% of the deals go through brokers. Some deals may go through property managers because they know exactly what the owner is like going through. So one really solid way to find a deal also is to type in Google like property managers in Phoenix, Arizona, and call every property manager, be like, hey, I'm looking for a 4 to 5 unit property. If you know any of your clients that are looking to sell a property in that range or that may be selling in the next 6 months, please take my number down, my email. I'll send you my qualifications, or like, I'll kind of send them a letter of why you were looking for the deal, and to stand out a little bit, and you could possibly get a really sweet deal from them because they know exactly what's going on. Like us, we have 14 projects right now, and we have a couple smaller deals where if you were to call our property manager and say that, she'd say something like, you know what, they do have some small, I do know someone that has some small deals that may be consider selling, like they are always selling properties. So let me ask them if it's okay if I send you the address, maybe you can search it up, do your numbers, like those are definitely really good resources. Like these people manage over 10,000 units in cities, like a bunch.
Yeah, they have a
But
good
yeah,
ear for the streets, right? They know what's kind of going on in their market.
exactly. But yes, for us, 99% of the deals are brokers. 99% of the deals are brokers.
Cool. Alex, for you, real quick, this is a great question from Jose Linares. As quick as you can, how was the process for funding your first $1 million capital raise? And then Edwin will kind of pass it off to you as well. But what did that look like? Alex, I know for you, we raised $1 million for the deal in Arizona. Did we syndicate? Did we use a debt strategy? How did that kind of work?
Yeah, so for us, we structured it more of debt since we put up so much equity ourselves, and then we were able to raise at 20% annualized return on investment for the other 700,000 or so that we raised. So for ourselves, we put up 350 together as a team, and everything else we structured. So we could have syndicated it, but we didn't go that route because we put up so much equity. Yeah.
Good stuff. And Edwin, on your guys' deals, for $1 million, what are you guys looking at?
I guess the biggest thing is going to be your presentation. Like if you don't have a good presentation, it's going to be hard for you to raise the capital. And what that means is if you just go up to someone or you just call someone and say, hey, I got a 15 unit deal that I want to show you. I'm going to send you the address, like I'm going to just look at it. All right, let's partner up on this deal. Like they're going to search up the address and they're not going to know the unit mix. They're not going to know the rent roll. If it's in a different state, they probably don't know the area. They're going to be like, okay, like, what do I do with this address? But versus if you have a full-on package and you have listed every detail, like the square footage, the rent, the projected rents.
And real quick, can you go over those a little slower? Because Edwin, that's a great question that Edwin's asking, is like, what are those numbers that you're focusing in on? So you said the rent.
Yes. So what you want to be able to show these investors or potential partners is, look, this is what the property is rented at now. This is how much square footage this unit is. There's 10 2-bedrooms with 1 bathroom, and the rest are 1 bedrooms. So the unit mix is really good. You want to show them the year that it's built, like literally everything that one needs to know about the deal. And including if it's in a different state, especially, you want to be able to like mark like, hey, the Costco's right here, Sprouts is right here, Whole Foods is right here. The like not here, the airport is right here.
Costco's, airports,
like,
hospitals, where those big city area things are, right?
Exactly. And then you want to do the research of like how many employers are in this little 5 to 10 mile radius. And if there's only like 1,000 employers, like, okay, you might have a lot of vacancies if you have 15 units because there's not a lot of people that are employing, but you want to be able to show like all those economic facts, like how many, like what's the rent growth? Like, and you want to show them, hey, these last 3 years, the rent has been growing 6% average or 10% or 5% or whatever it is, and then you also want to put some comps in there. to support what you're saying. Like you want to fact check everything, or you want to leave them into somewhere where they can fact check themselves. So if you're saying that you can rent out apartments for $1,600, you better put an apartment right next door or nearby that's renting for $1,600, you know, or else they're going to be like,
the rent increases is so critical to your deal too. I remember one of the lenders that was not local balked and said, "Oh, we don't think you can get that for rent." And then when I ran my research and talked to somebody locally, they were like, "Yeah, you can." They actually, were like $100 higher. But again, because that lender was not local, then they weren't able to kind of like, and we ended up not going with them because they gave us far inferior loan terms because they didn't know the area as well.
Exactly. So that's super like critical, guys. Like you got to put all these facts, and even on if there's comps to support your exit, put those comps in there. So if you're saying you're buying a property for $2 million and you're telling the investor you're going to sell it for 3, like you better have something in there that's going to support that. That says, hey, even if it's at 2.8, the comp, the highest comp is 2.8, but you tell them we're going to kill this deal. We're going to do it better than that person. And we're going to be able to take that $2.8 million deal, like profits that it's showing, but we're going to overachieve that. So you just want to be able to fact check everything, guys.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions?
Good stuff, guys. We're going to bring on the rest of the panelists here now at the end. Edwin, we usually like to kind of bring everybody on. As you guys get on, if you guys were getting a lot of value out of this, go ahead and give us a big thank you or a big thumbs up for Edwin. I think this was some incredible gems that we were dropping on here. I know we have a couple more questions that I want to kind of touch on here. And one of them just kind of, again, goes back on the ROI numbers. Like what are kind of some ROI numbers when Alex and I are doing our fix and flips, Edwin? We like to hit about 30% ROI on our cash, that we're putting into deals. How does that kind of change when you're looking at some of these bigger numbers and these bigger products?
Yeah, so that's a great question, guys. We like to go big. Like we're trying to get like massive returns for not just for ourselves, but for all of our investors. So if the deal doesn't underwrite at like 60% returns, we won't take down the deal. Like we're trying to flip money, like turn $100,000 to $150,000 or $100,000 to $200,000. So we'll underwrite a deal conservatively at 60%. And then like many of our deals right now are overproducing. Like some of them are going to return 90%. Some of them are going to return 100%. There's been deals that return 150%. And it just depends how hard the market is powering through. Like, as we all know, the market's not powering through so hard anymore, but you can still provide like these, you can still force the equity by putting all these great upgrades and raising the rent.
Good stuff, man. That was a great question and great answer there. Again, the last thing I would kind of like to touch on is the finance structure that we're kind of looking at on these deals. I know you kind of said you do a 70-30 split. So really, like you said, you're actually providing a good chunk of that investment back to your investors. And like you said, that's why you're searching for those higher, profit margin deals, right? Because if there's a bigger chunk of money, not only do you get more money, but the investors that were helping you out are also getting that. So I'd love to just kind of touch on that just a little bit more. Does that differ deal by deal, property by property? How do you kind of structure that?
Yeah, and I'll share this with everybody, like, because it's super, like, when I found this out, like, it really shocked my mind. But most of the syndication groups, most of the funds have thresholds, and it basically says, like, hey, if I say the IRR, or for example, say the projected IRR is 19%, and like the group says, hey, we're gonna take this deal to 90%, and it's a 70-30 split. But if we hit 15%, which is very close to our goal, now it turns to 60-40. And then if we hit the 19% goal, now it's 50-50 because we hit that goal. And if we hit 23% or higher RRR, now it could even turn into a 60% the owners and 40% the investors, which means the profits just get like smaller for the investors and higher for the owners. And the reason they do that is because like it's basically saying like, hey, if I overperform on this deal, I have to get paid more, and they're doing it the legal way. Like this is legal, you know? And like I think it's crazy that they're able to like put this together. And I mean, it's true because at the end of the day, you're still going to get your returns. You're still going to get your 50, 60, 70% returns. But anything above that, like it's not going to your pocket. It's going to their pocket.
No, that's fantastic. I love how you explaining that. There's just like multiple ways you could layer a deal and then change it, you know, based on things. And then, you know, if I overperform, if I do really well, if I knock this out the park, then you're gonna get paid even more, and I'm gonna get paid even more. Like,
yeah,
we all win together, right?
Exactly. So it makes sense. Like it totally makes sense, and they're doing great. A lot of these groups are making a lot of money, buying a lot of real estate. But us, since we just started this fund 7 months ago, and we're putting these deals together, we're doing 70-30. Like whether it overperforms, whether it's a home run, no matter what, it's 70-30. Like no matter what. And the reason that we're doing that now is because we're growing our database of investors. You know, right now we have 60 investors, and when everybody gets their returns back, like that 60 investors is gonna burn like a wildfire. You know, they're gonna call their friends like, yo, it went through, we all got our big returns, you should invest on this next deal. And now we might have 100 investors. And maybe once we become like a bigger company, like as we grow, like say like Grant Cardone or Tides or Rice 48 or Blackstone or whatever, like then you can really just put your, as someone that provides all this value, you can put your foot down and say, hey, I'm a reputable company. I've provided over $50 million of returns to investors. You know, like these are how I'm structuring my deals, and that's it. Like if you want to be part of them, awesome. You can partake. We can all make returns. If you want to look for another company to invest with, that's great too. You know, so it gets to a point where
you become more valuable. I mean, at the end of the day, right? You become more valuable, and so you're worth more. So that way, you know, actually command a little bit more. But you're earning your, you know, your stripes now, and paying a lot of stuff, paying people a lot more now, building the reputation. And once you perform, it's like, hey, well, now I've performed, so now I'm, you know, now I get paid a little bit more because I'm more valuable. So that's awesome.
You got to be willing to give up stuff to grow, like literally in every way. Like you got to be willing to give up drinking to better your like health. You got to be willing to like give up like, I don't know, like maybe playing too much soccer to like do more real estate, whatever it is. You got to be willing to give up stuff to be able to like get to the next level.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think we've already reached our hour, guys. Edwin's time, as you know, is very valuable. If you have any last questions or something we didn't answer, I'd really love to get these. You know, maybe we can go over a little. Can we go over a little bit?
Yeah, and Edwin, I was going to ask, is there a good place for people to get in touch with you? Like if somebody needs to get in touch, if somebody has a question about joining, you know, one of your funds or getting in on a deal with you guys, you know, what would be the best place for somebody to get in touch with you?
Yeah, one of the best places to get in touch with me is obviously going to be Instagram. Like it's like the digital, it's a business card, you know, like the Instagram is better than a business card because with the business card, they only see your face or your phone number. But on Instagram, you can actually see their projects. You can see the type of person they are, what they post, you know, who they hang out with or whatever. So Instagram's going to be the best place to find me at. But I also encourage everybody to come out here and meet me in Phoenix. Like, you know, if you're in a different state or if you're in Phoenix too, like you better hit me up and be like, hey, I was on the Zoom, on the webinar, like, can we meet up at one of your projects? I'm going to say absolutely. And even if you're in another state, you know, reach out to me if you want to come check out our business, see our properties, see how we structure stuff. And, you know, I can help you coordinate like on stays or like anything like pickups, if you need me to pick you up from the airport, whatever it is.
You guys heard it right there. And again, I think the amount of gems and little golden nuggets that you heard here certainly can help. You know, quick show of hands after today's, you know, presentation, who is thinking about getting involved in multifamily deals? Is that something that you guys are all feeling a little bit more confident about after hearing from our guy Edwin today? Good stuff, man. I see a lot of head nods, a lot of hands raised. Good stuff, man. Again, I think that was some incredible stuff, Edwin. We're super grateful for all the stuff. I see people in the chat right now saying thank you as well. So that truly was some great stuff. Edwin mentioned it, guys. He's available. Hit him up on Instagram. I shared his Instagram right there in the chat, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. All right.
All right, guys. See ya. Thanks for joining. Let's go.
Let's go.
Thanks, Edwin. Appreciate you, brother.